I want you guys to think back to a time in your life where you were really happy. What's the first thing that comes up? Maybe it's running or working out or being with your kids. For me, usually what first comes up is being a little kid and running downstairs, going into the Christmas tree and like tearing apart all the presents, seeing what I got. I don't know if you guys have a similar memory of that, but how many of you remember that feeling of joy and excitement when you're just like tearing that wrapping paper apart? Now, how long did that joy actually last? Maybe a couple minutes, a few hours, a couple days, maybe a few weeks at most? How many of you would like to be able to experience a state of happiness that actually lasts, that isn't limited to a few like quick bursts of happiness? Anyone?
You giving out drugs?
You don't want to be happy? No, I'm not passing out any antidepressants or anything. Good. It's not surprising that everyone raises their hand. I think that's one of the core desires that really unifies everyone on the planet. And the Dalai Lama actually had a great quote about this, and he said, "Happiness is the meaning and purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence." So in this presentation, what I want to do is share what I believe to be the secret to true lasting happiness. And before I share that, I think it's important to stop and actually think about what happiness actually is and what are the different types of happiness. And I think there's really two main types. One is fleeting, as I mentioned, and then the other one is lasting. And the fleeting sense of happiness I think of as satisfaction. It's some sort of desire you get and then you fulfill it, food or whatever it is, and then it's quenched. And then lasting happiness, think of that as fulfillment. And without going too much into what either of them are, you can just sort of listen to the words. So listen to the word fulfillment or fulfill and how solid, full, and whole that sounds. You're literally filled full versus happy. It's like, it's just thrown out there, fleeting. Whenever it happens, it happens. But this is actually confirmed if you study the etymology of the word happy. It stems from an Icelandic root word hap, which is also the same word that's used in happenstance and haphazardly, which pretty much translates into luck or chance. And I don't know about you guys, but happiness being so crucial in life, it's not something that I wanted to leave up to chance. So I literally made the decision to just learn everything I could possibly learn about happiness and what it takes to be happy so that I can actually experience it on a daily basis. And ended up reading tons of books, going to lots of seminars, applying stuff in my own life, and unfortunately I never got this magic pill that I could just take like all you wanted right away. Just give me something, I just want to be happy forever. But they all led to a little piece of the puzzle that I've sort of put together and have created what I believe to be a formula for fulfillment. Unfortunately, I don't have all the time to get into the whole thing today, but I do want to share what I believe to be is the most important part of living a truly fulfilling life. And before I share that, I think it's important to really get some perspective on why this is important. I mean, I know everyone wants to be happy, but I think it's really interesting. Something I read in this book, Happier, I mentioned I've read a lot of books. Out of all the books I read on happiness, this is by far the best one. It's by Tal Ben-Shahar. He's a professor at Harvard. He teaches a positive psychology course. But I think it's important to kind of look at this issue from a global perspective, not just it's important for you to be happy, but it's shocking. So in the United States, rates of depression are 10 times higher today than they were in the 1960s. And the average age for the onset of depression is 14 and a half, compared to 29 and a half in 1960. A study conducted at American colleges tells us that nearly 45% of students were so depressed that they had difficulty functioning. And it's been 50 years. So obviously there's a lot of factors causing this. You know, I can't really, not me or all these authors, we can't really pinpoint what's at the heart of it. But I do think that there's sort of a cultural myth that we've all adopted to one degree or another, just throughout the course of our lives. Do you guys know what that is, or take a wild stab in the dark? It was mentioned in the last presentation. John Adams was one of the people who first proposed the idea. There's a movie made around it with Will Smith in it. Pursuit of Happiness. So, well, this is, I believe this is one of the greatest things that's ever been perpetuated in our society, to really grant people the freedom to live a happy life. But unfortunately, I think this idea has really been distorted over the years, and we've sort of lost touch with what that really is. Because what I found is that happiness is not a pursuit, it's a way of life. And we often think of happiness as an emotion that we feel, or the state that we get to experience. But I think of happiness a little bit differently. I think it's an ability that you have to cultivate. And there's another great quote by Abraham Lincoln, as was mentioned in the last presentation, that said, "Most folks are about as happy as they make up their minds to be." And that's ultimately what it comes down to. It's really simple, it's not that revolutionary, but ultimately your happiness is a choice that you make. And you'll start to make this choice more and more as you realize the profound wisdom behind another quote by a great thinker, Socrates, that says, "He who is not content with what he has would not be content with what he would like to have." And that's, I share a lot of quotes, you guys know that, but out of all the ones that I've heard, that's probably the one that's affected me the most, because, it's a lot of people, I fall into the trap of projecting my happiness into the future. I'm sure you guys do too. I'll be happy once I finally graduate, or I'll be happy when I'm further along and closer to my friends, or when my kids leave home, or when I lose the last 10 pounds, or whatever it is. But what often happens is that it doesn't give us that sense of happiness, because as soon as we get there, wherever we think there is, it's no longer there, it becomes here. And then we project that next there somewhere else. We never learn how to enjoy the here and now. And there's a great quote that says, "Being happy isn't about having what you want, it's about wanting what you have." And I think one of the best ways to sort of incorporate this into your life, not just ideas, but to actually stop and spend time every single day appreciating all the things that you have in your life. And the whole principle behind this is another quote, or maybe it's a saying, I couldn't attribute it to anyone, but what you appreciate appreciates. Think about that. What you appreciate appreciates and grows. It literally expands as you start to live with an attitude of gratitude. You're going through life in a more positive state of mind. You're sort of recognizing things that you normally wouldn't appreciate just because you've made the conscious choice to tune into the positive things in life. So the idea behind this, I think, is the secret to happiness, if there ever was one. It's probably as close to a magic pill as you're ever going to get. And it's not just my idea. This has really been confirmed in a lot of research. There's another book by Robert Emmons, who's a psychology professor at the University of California. And he also has a book that talks about the effects of gratitude on happiness, and it's called Thanks, How the New Science of Gratitude Can Make You Happier. And what his research showed is that people who practice gratitude can increase their levels of happiness by 25%. That's a pretty large circle of influence that you have. And he also found that grateful people tend to be satisfied with what they have and are less susceptible to such emotions as disappointment, regret, and frustration. And what he did is he conducted a study with 3 different groups of people. The first group kept a diary of events that occurred during the day. The second group recorded their unpleasant experiences, and the last group made a daily list of things for which they were grateful. And what he found was that the results, the people The people who did the daily gratitude exercises reported higher levels of alertness, enthusiasm, determination, optimism, and energy. And the gratitude group also experienced less stress and depression. They reported fewer physical symptoms. They tended to exercise more frequently. They made more progress towards personal goals. They felt better about their lives as a whole, and they were more optimistic about the upcoming week compared to those who recorded all the hassles in life or just the neutral experiences. So, another thing he found, which I thought was really interesting, was that people who feel grateful are also a lot more likely to feel loved and also to reach out to others and engage in acts of reciprocal kindness. So it goes beyond just yourself and feeling happy and just being in this little daze. You actually start to reach out to others and have a positive impact just with your presence, with your vibration, to the people you come into contact with. So how many of you guys see the value in this or the importance?
Totally, yeah.
2 hands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you get older like us, you see it more. You being as young as you are, it's wonderful.
It is something, isn't it?
You have that insight, so
It is. Yeah. That really is.
good for maybe. I mean, it's good for you. It's good for
Yeah.
everybody.
It's good for everyone. That's the beautiful thing about it.
Yeah.
So how many of you have 5 minutes in a day? Everyone?
Mhm.
So I was going to share the whole 3-part. I mean, there's more to happiness than just this. My original speech I cut it short. It was going to be, but I share this because I think this is the most practical, the easiest to take away, and the most implementable. So if you guys get nothing else, I just wanted to make sure that everyone here gets a journal. Keep it by your bedpost every single night. As you lay down to sleep, take 5 minutes, make a list of 10 things that you're grateful for. It'll change your life. Some of the most amazing days have been when I have wrote, and that doesn't always work. Sometimes I'm going through the motions. I think it's going to get a result. Come on, I'm writing it and give me that news. No, but I found that having that daily practice is amazing, and I really recommend it. But aside from that, I think that all the things that were mentioned by all you guys are important. You do want to, grow, pursue your passions, and do all that. Always strive to learn and improve every single day. Always pursue your passions in your own unique way, but never forget to appreciate every little step along the way. Thank you.